Okay, we had a bit of a change of plans for this evening, and thankfully, the amazing Daniel McAleese from MyMelanoma initiative has stepped in last minute to help us out. So some of you will have already seen the booth from MyMelanoma out there. So please, if you haven't already, do take the time to stop by and have a look at it tomorrow. For those of you who've been here on more than 1 year, you will have heard the expression MyMelanoma mentioned before. Yeah. You will have heard talk about this, but this is a really good chance for us to have a bit of an update.
Yeah, so for those that don't know or haven't seen me on the stand yet, MyMelanoma was a research project that was founded by patients for patients. And some of those patients now in this room, this amazing woman here, using their own experiences of living with this horrible disease, coming through the other side, and then thinking, how can we help people that are going through this now and in the future? And if you fast forward a few years, what is it now, 2015 it started, so you fast forward a few years, and with considerable help from Melanoma Focus with some of the initial funding and our colleagues in Leeds and up in Scotland as well, we're now running MyMelanoma out of the University of Oxford under the leadership of Professor Mark Middleton, who I know has been a big supporter of the conference. And
he's a star.
Yeah, he's also my boss, so he's told me he's been very nice about him. He's great to work for. But the study, the actual study is open to anybody who has an experience of being diagnosed with a melanoma, regardless of stage or whether it's at the eye or on the skin or mucosal surfaces. Any experience is relevant. Once you sign up, we're going to ask you to complete a couple of questionnaires, and these questionnaires, they cover a very broad range of topics. I know there's some people in the room that have done this study already, and they're probably like, yeah, they do cover a lot. So there's things like your family history. So we're very interested in looking if there's a family connection in some of the cancers. We're also looking at questions about your lifestyle, so whether you have been in the sun a lot, what you eat, some of your drinking and your diet, if you smoked, etc., etc., etc. And we're also going to ask you things like, we're going to ask your permission to send you a sample kit in the post so you can take a small sample and send it back to us. We'll also ask you some stuff as well, like your permission to obtain some of the data which is stored essentially by the NHS, if we can use that to enrich our database even better and make this better for patients.
The really unique thing about this project is that unlike any other research thing that you might have heard about, you can opt in or opt out of whatever element you want to be involved in. And that has never happened with any kind of research initiative before. If you don't want to go down the route of tissue samples or the feces samples or whatever other elements might be involved, you don't need to. Your data, no matter what you contribute or how much you contribute, is really critical anyway. And it's just a case of allowing and consenting to the next step.
Exactly. Like, you choose how much you want to engage with the study. So exactly as Imogen was saying, like, we want to empower all the patients. So rather than a doctor or a nurse, and I'm not saying stop listening to your doctors and nurses, absolutely don't do that. But in the past, perhaps in some trials, there's been a set of consent forms be like, you have to hit each one of these to be able to participate. With MyMelanoma, that is not the case. You choose how much you want to engage with us.
Yeah. What's the numbers at the minute? What's the planned numbers? What are we talking about in terms of success?
So rather ambitiously, we're aiming for 20,000, which is love that, which is a very large number, and it sounds very high, and it is very high, but it's high for a reason. At 20,000, we can far exceed some of the research questions answerable that we have done in the past. Just think of, so for example, with 20,000, we'll see a lot of people that are reporting rare side effects of some of the treatments and rare conditions, excuse me. And then from that, we can form really sensible research questions that haven't been answered before.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, when we think about clinical trials, and I know there was the breakout session earlier that Brent was involved in, and we talk about research and we go, well, we're talking about the drug. And so many people in this room are on what is a standard clinical trial with a drug that's come from Big Pharma. What we're talking about here is university-led, national-led research of a different kind. This has come as a result of discussions directly from patients, from myself, from Julia Newton-Bishop, from Mark Middleton, where we've gone, what do we actually really want to know? And is the drug the only pathway through? And what are our chances of progression? And if we do this, what impact will it have here?
Yeah.
And so this is kind of the starting point in what is probably a really exciting journey.
Yeah, and we're right at the very start of that journey. So I think we launched, I know we launched this time last year at the conference.
Yep.
So we've only been open about a year, just over a year.
Yep.
And we're on about 1,200 participants.
That's incredible in 1 year.
Yeah, so it's going well. And the reason we can do that, and another thing which is unique about my melanoma, is that at the moment, we're completely online. So you don't need to live close to a university or a hospital that's engaged with this kind of research. Anywhere with an internet connection, you can sit in the comfort of your own home, you can lie back, you don't have to go in a hospital, you don't have to navigate those horrible hospital car parks or eat those bad food. You can do wherever you are. And that is a really powerful way of increasing numbers quite quickly, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you work with Mark Middleton, who is probably in my top 5 favourite people on the planet. But you did something else before. You've obviously worked with Mark and the MyMelanoma team for about a year now. What did you do before then? What's brought you to this point in research and stuff?
Yeah, so I actually started a long, long time ago in sports science, and then loved that. That's become my love. And then from that, did public health. And I was telling Susanna this earlier. When I was studying public health, of all the big things that we studied, I think cancer was the one that there was like no kind of, at the time, no clear direction of how we're going to help a lot of people quickly. And that's why I really wanted to get involved and see if there's something that we can progress this forward. And why my melanoma is so exciting is because it really feels like being part of something that could help a lot of people very quickly, as fast as we can. So I think it's a very important journey to be on, and yeah, we're right at the start. Yeah.
There's one other thing that I find really interesting, and actually as a room, and because I know a lot of you have already signed up for this, we should actually be really proud of the innovation that melanoma is moving here, and where we as patients and the involvement that we have in this initiative has really driven something really remarkable forwards. Because is this just my melanoma? Is there anywhere else that this can go? What can it lead to?
So we have our long-term plans, and then where this is branching out as well. So what's been really exciting is the framework that we've developed in Oxford. Other areas in health research have contacted us to be like, this is quite a good idea. So we want to try and set something up as well. So not just in cancer, but also cardiology and neurology have got in touch with us as well to be like, this framework of a completely online way to get a lot of people, to get the experience of a lot of people in a quick space of time, that's a pretty good idea that's going to work across healthcare rather than just cancer. And perhaps more excitingly than that, though, one of the big things about my melanoma is, so we're building up this amazing research resource with all of the data that our participants are kindly offering us. And eventually we want to go one step further and flip that around and be like, well, we have all of this data now. How do you, the patients, want us to use it? What direction should the research questions we're asking, what direction should that go in? And we've actually just started that. So we had our first participant panel just before Christmas, actually, a few months ago now. And from that, one of the main things that was raised is nowhere in the questionnaires did we cover things about misdiagnoses.
Yep.
And now we do. And,
yep.
Or we're about to put that in place, which is going to be a major part of the study. So that two-way communication, I think, could be transformative, not just in this study, but wider in the whole of cancer and then in the whole of healthcare as well.
Yeah. And do you know what? Somewhere in the room is Janet Allen. You can stick your hand up if you want to. But she and I were talking earlier about actually and Michelle Richardson as well. There's a need to be able to know if you are a responder, if it does work, what data can be captured from that. If everything's all great and you're sitting there 5 years happy, why? What in your makeup has made that possible? And we really need to be looking at all of the information so that we can understand the triggers that are there.
Yeah, and the other main thing about that is I think we as researchers and doctors and nurses and all the care teams, you're doing an amazing job of getting you to that point where the cancer's under control. Sometimes then you just kind of like leave you. And it's important to see, this kind of study can be, well, how was it in the 1 month and the 1 year and the 10 years afterwards, and get some data on that as well, which I think will help a lot of people in the future.
Fantastic. Anything else you want to add in relation to MyMelanoma as an initiative?
To MyMelanoma as an initiative. Please come and sign up. That's my sales pitch. I'll be out on the stall the whole day tomorrow, and it'd be really great to hear your thoughts on the study and perhaps how we can improve and where we can go in the future. It'd be really good to get your thoughts.
Thank you. And do you know what? Having to step in like at such short notice and then jump up on stage and talk to all of you lot when you're so as scary and intimidating as you are is a really big ask. So thank you, Daniel.
No, thank you.